In the year 2245, humanity had barely scraped its way into the Galactic Coalition, a powerful interstellar alliance of diverse, hyper-advanced alien species. As one of the newest members, humans were often seen as quaintly backward by the rest of the coalition, tolerated more for their curiosity than their expertise. Jaxon Reese was one of the few humans working on orbital outpost Theta 12, a repair station on the fringes of human space. Most of the time, he was tasked with patching up cargo freighters, the kind of work no other alien engineer would deign to do. He'd grown used to the smug comments from Coalition techs who breezed past with tools that were half machine, half organic, while Jaxon was elbow-deep in grime with a wrench that hadn't changed in design for a century. But he loved his work. As far as Jaxon was concerned, machinery spoke to him. He understood machines and could coax life back into even the most battered, unfixable engines. However, few in the Coalition took him seriously. To them, he was a relic as outdated as his human tools. One day, everything changed when the Haex'ni cruiser Karin limped into the hangar bay. The Haex'ni were renowned across the galaxy for their biotechnological marvels. Starships that merged with living tissue, capable of self-repair and powered by sophisticated organic cores. These cores grew, adapted, and even thought for themselves to a certain degree. But something had gone wrong. The Karin's power core was in chaos, sending waves of instability through the ship's systems. It was as though the living tissue of the core was struggling to self-regulate, tangled in a mess of circuits and organic matter. The Haex'ni engineers hovered around it, frantically trying to troubleshoot the core. Jaxon couldn't help but watch from a distance, feeling a mix of awe and professional curiosity. The organic core was unlike anything he'd seen, but he noticed something the others hadn't. The core wasn't damaged. It was looping, trying to fix something that wasn't broken. One of the Haex'ni techs caught Jackson's eye and sneered. Fascinated? Human? You wouldn't understand. This technology is beyond your capabilities. Jaxon shrugged and responded. Seems to me like your ship's got a self-doubt problem. The tech rolled his eyes, but something Jaxon said must have hit a nerve because an hour later, the head engineer, a Haex'ni with a regal stance and a stern expression, approached Jaxon with a mix of disdain and reluctant hope. Human, he said, as though it pained him to address Jaxon. Your methods are primitive, but our attempts have failed. You may attempt your method. Jaxon raised an eyebrow, feeling a surge of satisfaction. I'll give it a shot, but I need the bay cleared. I work alone. The Haex'ni engineers were appalled. Alone? You'd have us leave our vessel in the hands of an untrained human? Trust me, Jaxon replied, already pulling on his grease-stained gloves. You've been fussing over it too much. Machines don't like being fussed over. Reluctantly, the Haex'ni engineers left, leaving Jaxon alone in the echoing hangar with the sputtering power core of the Karin. Jaxon approached the core and immediately felt the hum of its organic energy, erratic and uncertain. Jaxon inspected the core up close. The energy circuits weren't broken. They were looping, responding to the tiniest fluctuations as if they were major problems, creating endless cycles of adjustment and correction. No one ever taught you to keep it simple. Huh, he muttered to the machine. He set to work, bypassing the self-regulating systems and manually routing the power flow back into balance. Then, with a deep breath, he took out his wrench, just an old-fashioned, earth-made wrench, and gave the base of the core a solid knock. The core blinked, its circuits humming uncertainly, then gradually settled into a smoother rhythm. He let out a slow breath, monitoring the core as it adapted to his adjustment. The alien engineers were back in moments, eyes widening as the ship's reading stabilized. The head tech looked at Jaxon in disbelief. How did you know to do that? Jaxon shrugged, grinning slightly. You had all that fancy tech, but it was way overthinking things. The ship just needed to relax, get a fresh start, if you know what I mean. The Haex'ni engineers shared uncertain glances. One muttered, "The human understands," but trailed off, unable to finish the thought. With a few more checks and adjustments, Jaxon left the core stable and powering the ship back to its former glory. He knew he'd probably go back to grunt work and coffee runs. But as he left, he caught a glimpse of the lead tech, giving him a grudging nod of respect. Jaxon walked out of the hangar feeling proud. It didn't matter that the Coalition thought of him as a relic. He knew that in the vast, advanced galaxy, there was still a place for someone who understood the soul of a machine, primitive tools and all.